Welcome.
Well, I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
man.
dude, absolutely. So we're here though for a very, very, very specific reason. The main reason is to go over 5 Cent City.
Yes.
Right, and to kind of talk about it, discuss it, deliberate it, and kind of give people a reason why they should show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first and foremost, for people who may just be clicking on it because of the title or whatever, tell us, what is 5 Cent City?
So 5 Cent City is an event that's based around the principles of connecting through community. And it's originated and started because my mentor who puts on the event wanted to do something to give back to the community he cares for so much, and all the individuals he grew up with as he come up from his own story and his own journey. And so the goal with 5 Cent City is to basically bring people together for the same reason and the same principle of connection and belonging, and have an amazing day together, playing basketball, listening to inspirational speaking, dunk competitions, shooting competitions. And it's this really unique event where so many people that you would never think would intertwine with each other on a regular day come together.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you first get introduced to the event? Like, take me through that. Like, from it was nothing to now you're fully invested in it.
Well, the way I got introduced to the event was actually in a time of my life when I was struggling a lot. And so Christian, being the owner and runner and guy who puts on the show of 5 Cent City, had become my mentor at this point. And so I was just going into what's called a bone marrow transplant because my health was very, very bad. I was sick for 18 years up until that point. And I had never really left the hospital since then.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always have in and outs, but I was never fully living what I wanted to live. And at that point in time, I wanted to be able to play basketball.
Right.
I wanted to be able to hoop for at least 30 minutes with no pain, no limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I met Christian, and he would continually come and see me in the hospital while I was in the bone marrow transplant, he kept on probing me and giving me this idea to look forward to of this event he was putting on. And this event where I would have the opportunity to meet a lot of individuals and also live out my dream of playing basketball.
Nice.
And so back when I was about 18 years old, this was in 2019, so the second year the event actually was put on, I had the privilege and opportunity to come to this event for the first time. And so the first year I was there, I spoke, I was able to participate in the shooting competition, and I just met so many individuals that made me feel connected and belong, that from that event, it motivated me so much that after that day, I made a decision mentally to get better, to be able to do that more often, more frequently in my own time.
Okay, I like that, dude. I think with that being said, and it seems like it played a very, very important role in individually focused or individual focused. It seemed like it played a very pivotal and important role in your life. Now, with that being said, I want you to take me through kind of the role that you believe the event plays in the community.
The role I believe this event has for the community, it is the light of the community. And what I mean of that is I have had a very privileged upbringing, and I have had a very privileged understanding of my life, even as hard as it was. I never had to worry about things that I got to witness when I was up here, people had to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And something unique about this event is that it creates this light within any individual who walks by it, who participates in it, who hears about it, that there's no issues. There's no negative emotions that come with the event.
Right.
It's all about positivity. It's all about connection. It's all about belonging. And so the role that this event plays in the community, in my opinion, is it's one of the only things that this community can look at as a light and as a hope and something to look forward to each year.
Okay, nice. So each year has a different theme, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, this year's theme is, from what I believe and what I've been told, actually, is resilience, right?
Yes.
Right. It's a good final way to kind of just show, hey, we can step forward and how we can move into a more positive way of not just thinking but living, right?
Yes.
So that being said, how have you exemplified in your own life that theme of resilience? It could be whether from just different example for the past life you lived, or something you faced recently. Take me through it.
I'll give 2 examples.
Awesome.
So resilience to me means to push forward.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my life, I never really pushed forward. I always stayed still, and if anything, I went backwards. And when I found 5 Cent City, and when I went to the event for the first time, it ignited something in me that showed me that I could push forward. It allowed me to see that I was something more than what I was going through, because if all these individuals who also have stuff that they're going through, and all these people around me who are taking the time out of the day to be courageous, share their stories, put on a show for these individuals, offer their help, talk to individuals, I can do that too. And so after that date, the resilience it created within my story and within myself, it made me know that I could be something more than what I was already having. It made me realize that, hey, I can be resilient enough to maybe put some extra effort into myself so that the next year I come out, I can give more.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I can speak without being under an umbrella. I can actually speak and give full vocal tone for 7 minutes straight rather than 2-minute talk, because I'll build my stamina. I'll make sure that I'm healthier.
Nice.
Then as far as the recent resilience, it's made me appreciate and have more awareness of the resilience of figuring stuff out on my own. And 5 Cent City is a community-based event, and everyone works together to put on this event for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah.
What it also has shown me for the resilience fact of it is how you as an individual have to be resilient enough to build yourself up to then equal that equation of 5 Cent City.
Yeah, to be able to like get the most out of what the event has to offer.
Exactly. So it's motivated me to be even more on my stuff, because I know it's not about me.
Right.
It's about how much I can give to the people who show up on the day of this event,
Right.
and give back to what they already gave to me.
Okay, so speaking of being ready and going through the resilience or being able to kind of do a shift or showing up to the event playing a part in somebody's life, do you have an example or a story that you've heard or one that stood out through people that have maybe like learned like how the event has helped them? Do you have an example?
I have a bunch of examples. And for myself, I know in my close friend group, the way that I was able to become friends with all these people was because of 5 Cent City. Because all of us come together for this event.
Right.
And I know I'm not going to mention any names.
Sure.
But what I will say is I have a lot of close friends that I'm now very tight with, that at the time that the event was being put on, just like myself, they weren't in a good spot. And I have a story where there was an individual who was finding himself and who was very depressed.
Yeah.
And was kind of in this struggle of not knowing what his identity was as well as myself.
Yeah.
And the event helped ignite the inspiration and motivation to change into being more with himself rather than what other people expected him to do.
Oh, huge.
And so that's in a way what I've seen with really close friends of mine, and especially one individual, I'm not going to say who, but also with myself.
Nice. Can you give a bit of background on your, because I think what's really, really curious, and I kind of want to dive into this a bit, and I know you've shared this story with countless people, but I think what is very impressive that I find admirable with what you've done is you did something very difficult, and you've gotten out of this tendency a lot as of late too, is you used to kind of have like almost like a victim, like you would just succumb that role, and then now you've put up, like, even when people just make jokes at you, it's less of like, stop hurting my feelings, and more of a, like, you kind of just shut it down and you're able to like stand up tall for yourself, and then it kind of diffuses situations a lot smoother. And I've noticed that where I don't think you get enough credit for being able to, because it's tough, dude. It's so easy to fall into that like victimhood pit, right? And then you have to almost be able to get out of it, to not even fully, but to enough of an extent where an event like this can play a role in a pivotal role in helping you.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So how is the event, because you talked about it briefly, but how is the event, if you have examples, like how has it helped like or impacted your life? Like, do you have a specific thing or like a specific way? Yeah. Because I can imagine it's brought people together, but
like this event has been the reason of why I'm alive. This event was one of the first things ever that I was able to feel like I belonged somewhere. Yeah. And it was the first time that I ever really felt appreciated. Because all my life, I always looked at myself as weak, ill, sick, not capable. And then when I had the opportunity from my mentor and from the event
Yeah.
to just show up and just participate in a shooting comp, or just participate holding a microphone and talking about how I'm feeling, it made me step away from this whole nonsense that I believed that all I was a sick kid, and it made me step into my potential. And so the real story of how that happened was, I remember speaking, and it was the first year I ever showed up, and at this point I still was on 30 medications day and night. I just left the hospital from being hospitalized for about 8 months straight without leaving. I was put on chemotherapy, I was put on all these heavy drugs, and at the time I was on this medication where I couldn't even be in the sun. And so what they had to do was, Christian and Jordan and a bunch of individuals who are very tight with me, they put me under an umbrella, because I literally would get blisters when I would go in the sun. And when I spoke, and I was so nervous and I was so panicked, but I had Jordan and I had Christian right by my side guiding me. And within the 5 minutes I talked or so, everyone was so encouraging. Everyone was so impacted. Everyone was so appreciative. And I had 2 individuals that I remember vividly come up to me and just hug me and start crying. And just say how much that me talking and me showing up made them inspired to be better in their own life. And that was the thing that was like, wow, I'm actually more than being sick. I have some value to give.
Yeah.
That's what really twisted everything.
How'd that make you feel when people would come up to that first year? Because while you think about that, there's so much leading up to that, right? The amount of nerves you had, you didn't even think about like how this could come across.
No.
How'd that feel when people were coming up to you being like, "Oh, my dude"?
It felt like a dream.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know how to even like, now I could say how it felt, but at the time I didn't know what that feeling was. You know, like I felt some sort of positivity, some sort of confidence, some sort of motivation.
I haven't felt these before.
And I never felt them, you know? Like, yeah, maybe I had smidges of it,
but
not in that way. It's different getting positivity from ranking up at a video game to then ranking up in actual life. That was the difference.
Way better out here.
Yes.
It's a lot harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, the biggest thing that, like, shifted all of it.
Okay. So with that experience and stuff like that, how has that changed? Like your, do you go in now when you do these talks, or when you will perform your poem and stuff like that, and do stuff like that? Are you going in with the idea of this, like the same approach, or are you going in as it like still really nervous, and then just, do you ever get like, does the speech ever finish, or the talk or the poem, does it ever finish and you're never really met with the same reaction? Or is it always like, it's always, positive people come up and, you know, there's always somebody, every time?
Yeah.
How has that reaction changed to it? Like, have you become more adapted to it, or?
That's a great question. And that brings up something that me and Christian actually just talked about. And Five Cent City has been the first for me of so many things.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever played ball. It was the first time I ever dunked. It was the first time I ever spoke. It was the first time I ever met someone, like, friends-wise. It was the first time that I ever, like, got involved in a community, you know? Like, so many first things. And so to answer that question, I don't think it will ever be the same as the first time.
Yeah.
But to go back to that, anytime I get something or someone that comes up to me, or comments or DMs, or after I do a talk and I know I've impacted, I can go to sleep.
Nice.
I can rest, because I know that I'm doing what I'm meant to do. Whereas I think the first year, it made me realize that that's what I'm supposed to do. Now I know what I'm supposed to do, just I could continue to double down on that one thing.
Okay, interesting. So what I'm wondering too, with that being said, is over the years, the people that have, let's use just people that have come up to you throughout the years. Do you have anybody that like stories that they would come up? Because I'm sure people come up after hearing you speak and share, and be like, oh my God, this has given me whatever, X, Y, Z, inspiration or motivation, however they want to describe it, or at the time, and used it to propel them to something. What has been an example of one that kind of just like took you back, where like you didn't think it would have made an impact, but then it did? Was like every one of them, or just? Yeah,
well, we actually know this individual.
Yeah.
And this is someone that I only became close with because of the event, and actually because of you. Okay. And it was the second year I spoke.
Yeah.
And there was this kid named Bradford
Mm-hmm.
who came up to me after, and he looked like he was my age.
Yeah.
But he came up to me and just told me his story and what he was going through.
Yeah.
And he told me how much that me speaking for that amount of time helped him shift something in his brain that made him realize that maybe he should be doing some other things.
Yeah. I mean, he can get more out of it.
Exactly. And when he did that, that really took me back.
Wow.
Because that was one of the first times, if not the first time, that I had someone in my peer group
Yeah.
that recognized and I felt like I was able to help.
Yeah. Not
which
like
was huge.
Yeah.
Because I never felt connected and belonged with my peer group.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Brad to go out of his way to let me know that after that day, it was like, wow, I can have this impact on people around me, and I'm with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an outlier. I'm not different.
No.
I'm with them.
Yeah.
And that's what was so impactful about that interaction. And now to see what that guy has continued to become and continue to do, and now me and him being brothers, and me and you, it's like, I can't ask for better.
Nice. Yeah, that's so cool. That's a perfect example too.
Yep.
I think what does this event, you've touched on it a couple times, but to you, and you can take a second to answer if you need, but to you, Michael, thinking about like what everything's happened and everything that's like been encompassed in like your having no idea of it to the journey it's been on for the last few years that you've been with it, and just meeting the people, becoming, like you said, not just like, oh, you're like the baby of the group, but more just, hey, I'm a peer, I'm becoming that way, I have value I can add, right? And it's not just, oh, I have a very inspiring story, but then it's just a story, actually, but you make it inspiring, right? So it's like, how do we get to do that? And so with that's you've managed to do that, right? There's been guidance and people have given you tools and stuff, right? But you've done that, right? So what does the event 5 Cent City, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to you? If you had to sum it up.
5 Cent City to me means hope. At its purest form, it means hope. It means potential, and it means hope. And the reason why I say those two words is because hope and potential were the two things that I needed the most when I didn't want to exist.
Right.
And 5 Cent City is the thing that provided that for me. And yes, I had my mentor who quarterbacked that pass to me, but the event itself and the people who are part of it and the organization and just everything that happens on the day of gave me hope and potential. Every single thing, from the basketball shooting comp, from the dunk comp, from the speakers, from the rapping, from the individuals I never met in my life but came up to me after, or the people I was able to give out shoes to. Like, it means hope and potential to me, and that's universal to anyone who shows up to the event.
So this year, right, we've kind of come over a bit of the theme, we've kind of combed over it. What do you think you're most looking forward to this year? Because there's a bunch of stuff going on. Yeah. But let's focus on the Saturday part.
Okay.
Because I do want to touch on what the 25th looks like.
Yes.
But I want that to be its own focal point.
Okay,
so
that.
what are you most looking forward to on that Saturday of the event?
Well, I'm going to say two things.
Okay.
One thing that I'm extremely excited for is this will be the first time ever that I get to play competitively in a basketball game. Yes. I had never been the guy I am now playing basketball.
Yeah.
And this year, thankfully to Christian and all the individuals who are on my team, you, Zach, Patty, Chase now, I'll be able to compete.
Dirty Mike and the boys, let's go.
Well, literally, like, that was my dream.
I'm fired up.
That was my exact dream. Like, my dream was, like, when I know I can play competitively with individuals and they not look at me as anything weaker or anything less than.
I don't give you the ball because I think because I feel sorry for you.
Exactly.
Give me the ball because I won't score, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he's more likely from 30 feet out to score than I am from 5. I'm going to pass him I'm like right under the net here every time.
No, exactly. So, like, it's the first. That has to be the most exciting thing for me because it's the first time that I get to live out this dream. It's the first time that I get to play competitively with no limitations,
Yeah.
no arthritis, no disadvantages, just purely me.
Yeah.
And that's all I ever wanted for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's finally going to be achieved
That's cool.
this August 26th.
Yeah.
And then
really
the second thing I would say is another like really close. Basketball's still a little bit higher, but this is like the ground point. I'm going to be rapping for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout my hospital life, I love hip hop. Hip hop's like one of the biggest things that gave me happiness during the darkest times. And 5 Cent City has a very great correlation with hip hop and just that scene and that vibe in general. And so when I was in the hospital, I was able to write rhymes, but I never could really construct them correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I've become more intelligent and put more effort into like book reading and all that, I finally was able to look back at it and make an actual rap. And so this year on August 26th, I'm going to be performing that rap for the first time ever in front of anyone.
Yes.
So I'm like amped for that.
Yeah, that's
amped.
gonna be nuts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop off.
Oh, I'm going to pop off.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Jeez.
amazing.
Man, I'm gonna like light up a gas stove or something. Just I want fire. I want to bring a firework just for the end. Probably won't do that because
You probably get in trouble.
yeah, regulations and stuff. But yeah, I just think it'd be really fun.
Oh man.
I love fireworks. But anyways, with that being said, take us through. So I just mentioned a couple minutes ago about the 25th and the night before.
Yes.
What can people expect about that? Because it's not just a one-day event.
No.
It's a kind of an evening and a one day.
Mm-hmm.
So take us through from like 5:30 to like 9:30, right? 5:30 to 10
Mm-hmm.
on the Friday night on the 25th. Take us through what people can look forward to on the Friday. What is that?
Yeah. So on the Friday, we're doing something very special. And this, to me, is like an introductory to what the resiliency creates in
Right.
everyone who shows up to the event.
Oh, sick.
And so Friday is going to be focused on a panel discussion
Mm-hmm.
with a group of individuals who have all overcome health challenges, resiliency challenges,
Yeah.
like all these different mental health issues.
Right.
And we're all going to collaborate together and be on a panel talking about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really unique and what's really cool is there's a special guest coming
Mm-hmm.
who's a world-renowned author, world-renowned speaker,
Mhm.
has had a movie made about him, like has just really, really embraced and become the full example of inspiration
Right.
and impactfulness. He's going to be actually speaking as well. And we're going to all be able to
Yeah.
watch this movie that was based off his true story,
No kidding. Yeah.
which also fills basically the icing on the top of the cake
Mm-hmm.
of what the messaging of Friday night really is about,
Yeah.
which is all about just resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday is a day and a night where you can expect to be more than inspired, more
Mhm.
than motivated. And I won't be surprised if your life changes based off that one night.
So with August 25th, the Friday before, it's going to be powerful and just examples of adversity, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, I think the Friday and the Saturday, I'm fired up,
Oh,
right? So I'm fired up. I cannot be more excited. Grateful to be a part of it and stuff like that.
yeah.
Tell me what is kind of like, how would you go about explaining the entire weekend? Like, what are you, like you kind of said what you're most excited for and whatnot, but take us through what can people look forward to? What can the community look forward to from the Friday to the Saturday evening? Like, take us through kind of like, hey, this is what we got going on.
Yeah.
Here's your wind up.
Yeah.
Take the pitch.
Okay. So Friday evening is going to be full of inspiration. You're going to have a group of individuals who are very well known in their own communities, who have done a lot of experience with talking, inspiring,
Mhm.
being a great example of what they've now be able to become. And from that, you're also going to get a movie screening based off the same thing that you're going to feel from the panel discussion, just times 40.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also going to be able to hear from an individual who is now world renowned and able to create so much examples within his own life to now inspire millions all over the world. So that's just the Friday. And then if you want to talk about the Saturday, you got an all-day event where you're going to have so many different emotions, so many different feelings, so many different events. You're going
Mhm.
to have a dunk competition, 3-on-3 basketball tournament, rapping, hip-hop show, Jordan Kilgannon dunk show. You're going to have all this collaborated into one day.
Mm-hmm.
And to put it full circle, I don't think there's going to be ever any event or ever anything that groups this amount of people together and this amount of like community and closeness that we've all established over the 5 years. I don't think it'll ever happen again. Out of all areas, I don't care where. I have never seen anything like 5 Cent City. Countless individuals who have been to this event have never seen anything like 5 Cent City.
Mm-hmm.
And this year is going to be even better than all the past years. So I don't think it'll ever be doubled up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on, dude.
Yeah, man.
So August 25th.
Yeah.
5:30 to 9:30. Starting at 1 on the Saturday. You know, we got the 3-on-3 basketball in the morning before, but at 1 o'clock, the barbecue, and then the rest of the day, there'll be the dunk show, the rap show, the speeches, you name it. Come out, have fun. Michael, dude, I love you, man. I'm so fired up. You can do this, and thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me, dog.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bro.
That's it. Hell yeah.